Hare Krishna. So first, we will discuss chapter 1. Let me give you the whole background of Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhagavad Gita is a science. Bhagavad Gita एक वो विज्ञान है जो हमारे जीवन के concepts को, दृष्टिकोण को, सिद्धांत को ठीक करने में ये विज्ञान सहायता करता है. In fact, it is a complete science. भगवत गीता में हम 5 तत्वों के बारे में सीखते हैं. 5 concepts we learn. ईश्वर, जीव, प्रकृति, काल और कर्म. ईश्वर मतलब गॉड, प्रकृति मतलब दिस वर्ल्ड मटेरियल नेचर, जीव मतलब हम सब लिविंग एंटिटी, प्रकृति, काल मीन्स टाइम फैक्टर एंड कर्म मीन्स science of action and reaction. Now these 5 things we learn in detail in Bhagavad Gita. Now if you see first chapter, it starts with a conversation between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, and further down the line it goes between Krishna and Arjun. Now, if you have read Mahabharata, you must be knowing that, and also we have given you in our course a little background of Bhagavad Gita. So how there are 100 Kauravas, 100 brothers, and 5 Pandavas who are cousins of Kauravas, and they have a family conflict. So conflict is over the property, it's a property issue. But Kauravas are highly immoral, unethical. And Lord Krishna, who is Supreme God, he wants to eradicate Kauravas. Rather, he doesn't want to eradicate, he tries all his attempts that Kauravas also behave properly and they cooperate with Pandavas. But Kauravas do not behave properly and they do not want to cooperate with Pandavas. And because they do not want to cooperate with Pandavas, they force that we want to have a battle. Even Pandavas, 5 brothers, they want to avoid this battle, but Kauravas are bent upon doing everything which will lead to a battle between the 2 parties. And because of this conflict, finally they are on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. On one side Kaurava party and on one side Pandavas. The 2 sections are opposite to each other. And Krishna is sitting as a charioteer of Arjun, who is one of the Pandavas. And when this fight is going to take place, in that, right in the beginning, so two armies on the either side, right in the beginning, Arjun requests his charioteer, his Sarthi, his driver, Krishna himself. Arjun says, please take my chariot in between. But before he requests that, the beginning of Bhagavad Gita is explaining what is going on in the mind of Arjun, and on the other side, what is going on in the mind of the head of Kauravas, that is Duryodhan, the eldest brother out of 100 brothers. So what is going on in the mind of these 2 is explained in the first 28 verses. Rather, first 20 verses. And after that, the conversation starts that please take my chariot in between both the armies. So Bhagavad Gita is the battlefield of Kurukshetra is a case study to understand the principles of life, the concepts of life, and to develop a healthy mindset, the right mindset and the right perspective based on which we can live our life. So some case study had to be taken. So battlefield of Kurukshetra case study is taken. And especially Arjun's example is taken because of several qualifications which Arjun has. First of all, Arjun is an administrator with high social responsibilities. Plus, he is a family man. So most people in this world are not sadhus. They are family men. So to make the teaching very relevant to them, a family man is chosen. Plus, somebody who has high level of social responsibilities. So that we can understand when we have very high level of social responsibilities, family, national responsibilities, how we can practice spirituality in spite of such a busy work schedule. So we needed an appropriate example. So Arjun's example is given so that we can relate to his life. So as I said, he's a family man, plus he has a lot of responsibilities. And the third thing is, Arjun is a submissive soul who is ready to broaden his perspectives of life. वो अपने mindset को सुधारने के लिए तैयार है. He is ready to improve his mindset. And therefore, these teachings are given keeping Arjuna, because Arjun is a very submissive devotee of Lord Krishna who is ready to improve his thinking patterns. his decisions of life. And about this, Krishna will say in 4th chapter and 9th chapter, Arjun, because you are my devotee and you are very non-envious, you are ready to change yourself, you are flexible, you are submissive, therefore I have chosen you for this knowledge. So a family man, plus second is responsibilities, third is his wonderful attitude of being flexible, submissive, devotion, non-enviousness, that makes him qualified as a right candidate. And that therefore Krishna chooses Arjun for this case study, so that he can teach to all of us. Now, after giving this background, I would focus on first 20 verses. And this is just your overview summary. Details you can read out on your own. In first 20 verses, you can see the first 11 or 12 verses are showing the fear of Duryodhan. How Duryodhan is extremely fearful on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, seeing that how powerful his opponents are in spite of not having big numbers. There are only 5 Pandavas and these are 100 Kauravas. Plus 100 Kauravas, a lot of good warriors and a bigger army. But still, Duryodhan is fearful because Pandavas were powerful. So one reason of fear in our life is when there is a difference between expectation and reality. We expect things to turn out in a certain way, but reality is that things are not the way we want it to be. So Duryodhan wanted victory, but he can clearly see that it would be very difficult to be victorious. So once you get a strength to accept the reality, see, we should be ambitious. We should try all out to be victorious, to win, to get what we want. But at times, we should also have strength to accept the reality and not just fight against the reality. At times, it will be very clear. Like suppose somebody is short-heighted by his genes. So to some degree, he can try to be tall. But at one point, he has to accept the reality that this is how his body is made. And I'm not saying being short is bad or being tall is bad. But the concept is you work hard, but at a certain point, you have to accept the reality. So Duryodhan had to accept the reality that now it will be difficult for them to be victorious. But because he was not ready to accept, it was creating a fear in the mind. That is Duryodhan's side. Then you also it is highlighted in the first 12 verses that wherever there is virtue, there is victory. Finally, temporary immorality or lack of virtue may seem to be gaining victory, but it's a temporary victory. Long term, ultimately, virtue will have victory, and therefore Pandavas will be victorious. Then after 12th verse onwards, the focus goes on what's happening on Pandava's side, what kind of powers they have. And from 12th onward till 27th, at least till 20th, a lot of focus is there on how Pandavas are very, very powerful. They have a lot of great factors like Bhagavan Krishna is there on the side of Pandavas. Hanumanji is there. You can read all this in the details as given in the Bhagavad Gita. Then Lakshmi ji is there. Then best of chariot, a powerful chariot, powerful horses are there. So, and the whole battlefield of Kurukshetra is favoring Pandavas in a certain way because Kurukshetra is a battle where always virtue has landed out victorious. So, keeping this in mind, we can see that victory will be there on Pandava's side. But in spite of all the factors favoring Pandavas, Arjun, who is one of the Pandavas, he become very fearful. Now, surprising, for Duryodhan to be fearful makes sense. There was a difference between expectation and reality. In case of Arjun also, there is a difference between expectation and reality, which causes him stress. Now, Arjun's fear was not that he will lose the battle. He never had that fear. He had some other fear, which he starts stating in detail after text 28th onwards, till the end of the chapter. Because he had certain expectation of how society should be and how people of society should be. And finding that society is not like that, people of society are not the way he wants them to be, and the future will not be the way Arjun wants it to be. So there is an expectation in Arjun's mind, but reality is it will not be the way. Like, for example, Arjun wants all his cousin brothers to live with him with cooperation, but cousin brothers are not ready to. They are fighting for property. So, expectation of cooperation and love, Arjun is not able to fulfill that expectations. Reality is lack of cooperation, lack of love. So, that difference is creating a frustration and fear. Then, Arjun's worry is okay, we will discuss more in detail, but I'm giving you one example now how Arjun is becoming fearful and stressful, and he's losing confidence in battle because he's also seeing a difference between expectation and reality. So you see, I repeated the concept of expectation and reality in Duryodhan's case and Arjun's case. And why I'm focusing so much on this? Because after first chapter is over, in second chapter onwards, Lord Krishna starts teaching us the truths and the realities and the principles of life. And if we are very much conversant with those principles, then it doesn't cause so much stress. Rather, one is able to live life happily in spite of all happiness and distress. External happiness and distress is not going to disturb us. Our internal stability will not waver. हमारी जो हमारा जो स्थैर्य है, इंटरनल स्टेबिलिटी है, वो डिस्टर्ब नहीं होगा. So therefore, keeping this in mind, so we can see that the whole Bhagavad Gita is taught. Just like an example is given of a coal mine, koile ki khan. If you go in a coal mine, you know that your clothes will get tainted black. कहीं ना कहीं तो काला धब्बा लगेगा. You just can't come absolutely white. So when you are ready to face the reality, the black stains will not cause you stress because you are ready to face the reality. So Bhagavad Gita trains you in the right perspectives of life so that you can remain stable in spite of all external goods and bads. In fact, our whole definition of what is good, what is bad changes. So that's what happened. Now, let's go text 28 onwards in chapter 1 only. In text 28 onwards till 43, Arjun states many reasons why he doesn't want to fight. Actually, after 43, he says that I do not want to fight. But before saying he do not want to fight, he states many reasons what is making him lose confidence in the path which he has chosen. That is to fight on the battle of Kurukshetra for the sake of winning the property. And the first reason he says 28th, 29th and 30th text. He says, I'm feeling compassion for all those people who will die on the battlefield. Now, compassion is a very divine quality. Daya honi chahiye man mein. Compassion should be there. So Arjun says that I am feeling compassion. So many people will die. And apparently it looks like this is all happening just so that we can enjoy the kingdom. Good reason. Second, 31 to 35, Arjun says, I will not be able to enjoy the kingdom if all my relatives are dead. So Arjun makes a point that it is not resources that make you happy. It is relationships, good relationships that make you happy. Not resources make you happy. He's very clear about this. And he's telling Krishna, why you have brought me here to fight where all my relatives, my loved ones, my dear ones will die. Good point. Third, 36, 37 and 38 text number. Arjun says, if I fight on this battlefield, I will incur sin. Mujhe paap lagega. Now this also brings out a great quality of Arjun. He makes decision in life based on sin and virtue, पाप and पुण्य. अगर पाप लगेगा तो हमें वो कार्य नहीं करना है, because today we might benefit from that work, but in future we will have to suffer for that sin, for that पाप. And he says, killing in this battle, I will be killing several people who are elder to me in age, who are very responsible in their life, who are very important for the kingdom. So killing them would be very sinful. So that is one point. That is third point. And then 39th to 43, he gives how the whole social structure needs to be stable. And he says, if elders are killed, who will share their wisdom with the younger generation, with children, with women? And the whole social stability depends on the wisdom given by elders. And there are several elders participating in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So with these reasons, as much as Arjun can analyze and present what is wisdom, Arjun presents in front of Krishna and he says, therefore, I should not fight because first of all, it's against the principle of compassion. Second, how will I enjoy without my relatives? Third, I will incur sinful reaction. And fourth is I will, the whole family social structure will get disturbed. That is another problem. And if social structure gets disturbed, the whole society will walk the path of sin because their stability will be lost. And he says, I do not want to fight. Now, these four reasons which I have given, you consider in terms of expectation and reality. Arjun expects that all the people in this world must live a life of cooperation and affection. But you see Kauravas on the opposite side, they want resources, they do not want relations. They do not have compassion. They do not care for social structure. They do not care for sin, like we see Duryodhan and all the Kauravas when they disrobed Draupadi and insulted a woman. They did not care for sin. They poisoned Arjun's brother Bhima. They did not care for sin. But Arjun feels everybody should care for all these good qualities. ऐसा नहीं होता है. This doesn't happen. And also Arjun is not realizing that if he doesn't fight, fine. If he prefers to refrain from fighting, but in future, these people are going to be killed by someone or the other because they are sinful people. So Krishna is going to teach what is right and what is wrong. Is it really sinful? Is it against the principle of compassion? Is it going to disturb the social structure? This whole battlefield of Kurukshetra, is it going to disturb all these factors? Krishna is going to prove no. So that's where the dilemma happens. And to answer this dilemma, Krishna starts talking deeper principles of life, how this world functions. As I said, Prakriti will be explained, how this world functions. Time factor, how time factor functions. How the science of action and reaction functions. So that Arjun is very clear, what is sin, what is not sin. Who is Ishwar or God, that he will explain. And who is Jeev or living entity, all of us. Hum sab Jivatma hai, that concept will be explained. And once all that concept is clear, then Arjun will see from the eyes of knowledge. Like now we have the specs. We remove the specs, it's not so clear. But once we wear the eyes of knowledge, the spectacles of knowledge, we can see with clarity. We can see right things in the right place. So this is how first chapter flows.